Hi, my name is Mary Dykstra, and this is a case study for parental apathy from EDL 856. Problem identification and analysis. What I know. Mrs. Rose has a new job as assistant principal. She just finished her master's degree and learned all about the importance of school and community relations. She's concerned about the lack of involvement. The school currently has no parent organizations, but have had them in the past. She's discussed it with her principal, and he suggests to leave it alone. Eventually, they decide to call a meeting. Only 8 parents are present. The principal and Mrs. Rose disagree on how to proceed with said meeting. The invitation to the meeting was a hard copy paper given to students. The principal is in favor of having a advisory board, but no other organization, and he feels he has a pulse on the community. What I need to know: does the school have a website? Do they use social media? What's the regular means of communication and sending notifications? Do parents generally get the information via paper through their students? What happened to the organizations in the past? What was the history, the events? Did they have guidelines set? How many people were involved? Does anything bad happen that made them dissolve? And was it gradual or immediate? How do teachers communicate with parents? Does the school use systems like email, texting, Call One, RenWeb, or other services? Why is the principal against these organizations? What is his idea for an advisory board, and how involved is he in the community? In order to move ahead, I would go ahead and do the meeting with parents who showed up. I would use it for brainstorming. I would ask them um, what their view of parental involvement is. What do they see happening? What are they hearing on the street? And do they have any ideas to improve the school and the involvement? I would compile their ideas with some of my own ideas and start a parental advisory board. Meet just once a month, have monthly topics, and from those topics have action items. I would also appoint 1 to 2 contact parents per grade level out of those 8 parents that came. These contact parents would communicate with other parents in the grade, and they would act as a go-between for schools and families. They would solicit the volunteers for either the cafeteria, library, field trips, or whatever else the school needed. I would also look into the social media and the website and see who's in charge, get going on posting things daily to highlight exciting things. And when there's exciting things happening, hopefully have a contagious energy. To implement the action plan, I would meet with the principal again and go over the ideas. Give the contact parents specific information to share with all the other parents. Get email, texting, whatever set up for notifications if it's not already set up, or tweak however it's used. Talk with the teachers once again about how they communicate with parents. Get the advisory board meeting set with dates and topics. Plan a social media post that can just be an exciting thing for everyone to see what's happening at the school. And then look at how meetings happened in the past and possibly change the venue. What kinds of meetings happen and what times. See what's happening in today's society and then adjust accordingly. For resolution, I would work with the principal again to just get on the same page, reminding him that he once felt the same way that Mrs. Rose did. Meet to share ideas, really try get his experience and wisdom and understand where he's coming from, and together suggest ideas for change, and then out of this meeting agree on 3 to 4 ideas to try. Out of that, I would start a weekly or daily or weekly notification, either via text, post, email, whatever, about student success tips. They would be short and to the point. There would be 1 tip a day or a week, And I would start with students are most successful when their parents are involved in their education. You would support that with the evidence that you found and just using the internet to get that. I would also do the social media posts, improve the Facebook, Twitter accounts, Instagram, whatever they were using, and share student achievements and highlights. I would get a few parents who are involved and use them as a sounding board and a bridge for the rest of the parental community. And then I would plan events that fit the culture. Morning informational coffee time rather than an evening meeting. Halftime highlights. Use when the parents are there already for athletic events and use those to be a time to communicate with the parents. So during an athletic event, give student awards or highlight achievements right during halftime. Showcase a musical group during halftime, just as a few ideas. Get the parent advisory board going. The parents who showed up may not represent all of the other parents, but they showed up. And I would start with these. I would have open, honest, and authentic discussion with them. And then I would do my own research to really understand the school's demographics. How can involved parents reach out to the uninvolved parents? How can we promote student service opportunities if parents aren't coming to meetings because of childcare issues? Provide high school students to care for the children right at school during a meeting or an event. As I reflected on this case study, it's a really difficult situation. It's a very real situation. We've had our own experience. When I started as a middle school principal, we had a welcome to 6th grade meeting and invited our 5th grade parents, and only about 5 people showed up at the meeting. So the next year, one of the parents met with me and said, we're having these morning coffee meetings, and I said, this would be a great way to put our information into a new venue. So we had a morning informational coffee. It was a very relaxed atmosphere. It was a drop-in event, a meet and greet. Teachers dropped in, parents dropped in. We had handouts ready. We had coffee and refreshments, and the participation was 80 to 90%. I also understand that Mrs. Rose could be very frustrated with the building principal. It's very difficult when there's a roadblock, but I feel like she handled things extremely well and respectfully. This showed in the fact that the principal suggested a parent meeting. Now Mrs. Rose has to be clever and work with the principal to see the value in going ahead with the meeting as well as putting other things in place. She needs to mobilize the parents who are involved. Every single change is going to start small. The parents who are involved can be infectious for other parents, and Mrs. Rose should build on their ideas and get the community connections and involvement through these involved parents. Things that are still unresolved for me are the demographics. I know nothing about the area school. So do the parents have computers and internet, or is there a lot of poverty in the school community? Are both parents working? What are the typical forms of communication? If I'm assuming it's a school like mine, we use email, we use OneCall, we use RenWeb, we use social media, we use the website. Oops. I also want to know what the history of the parental involvement is. What were the past organizations? Why did they dissolve? What cultural changes have occurred since those organizations were in place? What local businesses are invested in the school, and how are they invested? And is this a regular turnover rate, or is the school definitely in a slump? If this were my school, I would mobilize those parents who came to the meeting. They are the ones that I would use as point parents to reach to the other parents. In our school, one parent had this idea for the coffee time. She worked with all the other parents, different parents at every single grade level. So they would come together to school for an informal coffee time. Every grade level had a separate coffee time. They shared ideas. That type of event meant met the cultural shift that we were seeing. It was much more inviting than a meeting. Relationships were being built and parents were feeling included. Again, if this were my school, the involved parents could build on the newly formed relationships. In our school, the parents who started the coffee time got involved in our school auction. So they came up with a team of parents to run the planning. They delegated tasks to other parents, just as decorating supplies and other things like that. The team reached out to local businesses for catering, for auction items, for sponsorships, and the goal of the auction was to raise money to support the education provided. If this were my school again, I would look more at the social media and the website and keep this updated weekly. Have parental testimonials on the front page and showcase student achievements and highlights. I would also use Facebook and other social media sites and plan out regular posts. We would want to be increasing our search engine optimization so more and more people are hearing about and seeing what's happening in our school. For special things, we would send out a boost and again just boost the understanding and awareness of the great things that are happening at the school. We could also highlight a different teacher in class each week. That's my reflection and analysis of this case study. Thank you very much.